Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Bless.
Oh, hashtag blessed.
All right.
This is a cleric paladin spell. It's free for left of main cleric, so if you're left of main cleric, you just get this. It is a first level action, 30-foot range for most material components. It requires a sprinkling of holy water, which is technically like a gold costed associated magical item, or not magic item, but like item. At the same time, like if you just got like a vial of holy water, that probably is good enough. You don't have to like expend it or anything. It's just a sprinkle. A little sprinkle. Concentration, which is, makes it worse in the upper tiers, but low tiers, great. 1 minute. This says you bless up to 3 creatures of your choice within range. Whenever a target makes an attack roll or saving throw before the spell ends, the target can add a d4 and add the number rolled to the attack or saving throw. At higher levels, whenever you upcast it, you can target an additional creature for each level slot above first. So if you spend a second level slot on this, you can pick 4 things. Third level, 5 things, etc., etc., etc. Don't ever upcast it, as usual. It's not a good enough reason. Usually. You got all the spiritual evidence stuff to do with second level spell slots. That's not... Bless isn't where you would necessarily want to be using your second level slots. In any case, though, as a first level concentration effect for low tier games, I think Bless is like the de facto, I'm concentrating on this as a cleric effect.
I don't know that I agree with you about never upcasting this, especially when you get into the higher levels and, you know, second level slots become a little cheaper. And I mean, if you've got enough people that you want to bless, then, that could make a big difference in a fight.
The reason I say
Uh-oh.
you probably never want to upcast this is because if you have higher level slots, chances are those higher level slots have concentration effects that have a higher impact on the game than a bonus d4 to a couple allies has. And that's
Well, I
why I'm
got
like,
that, but all right, let's say you're in a really big, important fight. You're using another concentration spell, like a fourth level concentration spell. You got
sure,
a couple second level slots to burn. You got, one more guy you want to bless. Have at it.
this eats your concentration though. So you would lose
Oh,
concentration to your cool fourth level
oh
effect.
crap! This needs concentration.
Yeah.
Oh, nuts. All right, never
Big
mind, never
part of
mind.
it. Yeah. But it's
Oh yeah,
again why, like, first through third level, I'm all about it. Past that, you probably got better options, but that's okay. It's okay that some first level spells exist that you can stop preparing at 4th, 5th, 6th level. And this is one of those, I think.
all right. Still, you know what? I'm gonna stick with this. You're not gonna want to use concentration spells all the time. There's gonna be
That's
some
true.
times when you're doing something else, and this could be a nice concentration option. You weigh the benefits.
Absolutely. I think that for where that's getting cast the most as a first level spell,
Yeah.
it's important to note a d4 is only to attack rolls and saving throws, so it won't affect like grapple and shoves. It won't affect any skill-based attacks or skill-based things happening in fights. So something says make a dexterity or make an acrobatics check, something says make an athletics check, something says make an investigation or a perception check, stealth checks, none of that is assisted by bless. That's important to note. However, d4 on all saving throws, very nice. Even in the mid-tier fights, like you said, if you're in a situation where you've got other big splashy impactful effects and you don't plan on using concentration for combat stuff much, maybe you do spend a second level slot on this for your 5th level fight, give a bunch of people bless, and now the saves against the, you have protection against the wisdom saber dies that the enemy casters might be throwing out. Everyone has protection against the fireball effects a little bit, just a little bit of extra juice to sort of push you over whether or not you pass or fail the saves. Like an average of 2.5 plus to every one of your abilities or every one of your attack rolls. Obviously skill's great with characters making more attack rolls, so like 2-weapon fighters in the early game are gonna love this. Characters like Gloomstalker Rangers are gonna love this. Anyone that's just attacking a lot, monks love being blessed. They attack a lot, and that's a lot of bonus d4s. The more instances of d4s you can get, the better bless is gonna end up feeling like it was. So
Well,
you
that's
really
exactly why you have to weigh your options. I mean,
sure
consider, what's the duration?
a minute.
A minute, like all these extra guys with multiple attacks, like versus your whatever concentration spell you're using. I could see an argument for the former being better.
I would often, in those situations, probably look to cast it out a lower level slot to empower a specific set few characters in the upper mid tiers, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is this going to do for you? Unless you're like again trying to stop against saves, you probably just want to stick with people to make the most attack rolls. So like even in like, let's say you're doing 3 or 4 fights in a long rest and you're in the mid tier encounters, and you're like, okay, well, I don't really want to burn a 4th or 5th level slot here because we got a bigger fight coming down the road, I'm pretty sure. I'm just going to give out a level 1 bless for this encounter, give our monk, give our barbarian, give our fighter a bunch of bonuses to their attack rolls, and they can just go ham, and you feel like a decent support. You're, making cantrip attacks, firing off guiding bolts, doing other cleric-based stuff at like 5th, 6th, 7th level, and feeling pretty solid about that. And it's a relatively cheap cost that, while I'm, again, probably not doing it that often, especially because most tables don't run 3 or 4 encounters per long rest, most do 1 or 2, this is still something that you can pretty concisely fall back to say, this is an easy, cheap option I have at my disposal. And again, the early tiers, it's great. It's fine. It's something to concentrate on whenever there's not a lot else to consider.
All right. Gonna keep going back to this. Got one more point to make, but no, just I'm thinking like, all right, so you've got a bunch of guys with multiple attacks. You're a cleric. You're kind of sturdy. You can get in there in the fight and hit people with your mace or whatever. That's potentially a lot of blessing going on, and it also counts for the saving throws. If whatever you're fighting is throwing these fireballs and area of effect spells at you, and saving throws are going to make a big difference, that's even more bless. That's I'm not saying it's always, or even most of the time, going to be worth upcasting, but I'm saying this one in particular, there will definitely be times.
Maybe table dependent for sure.
Yeah.
Another important thing to note: it does defend its own concentration, right? So concentrations require Constitution saving throws. This adds a D4 to that because you're blessed when you make it. So this does, especially whenever you're taking less than 20 damage, because that's the DC 10 or half damage you take. So 20 or less will be DC 10. An extra D4 on that plus your Constitution score. That's going to be a good chunk that's going to make this stay up relatively consistently. And for that reason, like, that is a real reason to want to bless yourself, especially if you're playing a more martial frontline war domain cleric. Even in tiers of play where you could be concentrating on concentration effects that are like long durations that don't defend your concentration, if you're intending to take damage, throwing low-level concentration effects out round to round doesn't feel like the end of the world, especially if you can prep a fight with a bless, go into it, drop concentration after 3 or 4 hits, that's fine. You're pretty happy with that outcome still, because you probably got to stay up at least a round or 2. That's a decent place to have this, and expect it to be a concentration effect you can leverage while also taking a little bit more hits.
One other point.
Okay.
30-foot range. That is a hell of a sprinkle.
That's true. It also they don't have to stay within that range. Once this affects them, they're blessed to go wherever they like. So they don't have to stay within 30 feet if you just say #blessed, which is nice. Plus, you always get to say #blessed because as a millennial, I will always and forever make that joke. So, Other perks to the spell.
Yeah.
I like blessed. It's a cute little consistent buff spell that will help you as a cleric feel like you're doing a supportive buff thing that matters. In addition to Volt, it added a +1, and I had never wanted to cast it ever. In this edition, you get to add a whole extra dice to your rolls, and that could be a 4, and that could be really big and splashy, and give you a +4 to hit, and that's sweet. It also could just give you +1, and it's like, okay, that wasn't that great, but
it's not that great if it doesn't make the difference. If it does, then it's just as great as the 4.
That's true, and I think it's also an important note. I don't think this is often going to be worst casting in combat. I think a lot of times, especially in low tier fights that are short, taking an extra attack actions, firing off a guiding bolt, doing a proactive damaging effect is often going to be better than this. You really want Bless to turn 2 misses into hits to justify casting it. And that's going to require a good chunk of attack rolls, right? That's going to require 4 or 5 attack rolls to be made where this will make the difference between a miss and a hit. So you definitely want to make sure you're going to be doing this on slightly longer fights, because if it's just like I cast this, 2 people make attack rolls with it, and then the encounter ends, that's not really worth it.
Well, no. But I'm thinking about this. The reason you take it, the reason you cast it, is because your party is made up of these multi-attacking dudes, and or you're facing off against something that your whole party is going to need to make a bunch of saving throws.
Yeah, those are the 2 big reasons, I think. That also does, you leave an extra point. Excellent point. This isn't something that's going to be great at every party. If you're in a party with, you are the front line as the cleric, and you've got a rogue making 1 attack a round, and you've got 2 other full casters in your group that are making no attack rolls, this is going to feel like a dud. This is going to feel like you're getting almost no value out of casting this. You do definitely want to make sure you've got someone making more than 1 attack to really juice this to its fullest, or multiple other frontline characters like a barbarian, a paladin, and a monk to ensure this is getting the value that you'd like to see out of a first level cast.
Agreed.
I always rate first. Why don't you hit us with a rating first?
You know what? I'm going full 5 out of 5 again. I think yeah, I knew you're gonna have that reaction, but
Okay.
I'm thinking for when you know what you're getting into.
Sure.
You're at the right place, the right time with the right party. This is gonna have a lot of juice. If you're, I mean, like I said, if you're in the party,
it's still just a D4.
It potentially a lot of D4s. And
Yeah,
that's what I like about it.
Okay,
But
I'm gonna give it a 3.
I think that's huge.
I'm
3.
two steps
All
down
right.
from you. I think
That's
this
fine.
is an entirely reasonable buff spell for a first level cleric. I think most of the time past that, you've got other things you'd rather be spending your concentration on. And even in tiers where you're like, a D4 on saves would be nice, it's a pretty taxing order to make you spend concentration on it. It's pretty taxing to spend an action on it. So this is kind of a thing that you want to prep low level fights for. And that's where I think it shines brightest. Past that, I'm not really that excited to it. And in the fights where it does give you the bonus D4s, it will always feel fine. There'll be some encounters where it will do nothing. There'll be other encounters where it'll turn 4 misses into hits. That kind of variance means it's never going to be the most powerful thing in the world, but it can be comfortable, it can be cozy, it gives you the feeling of feeling a buffer. I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking in the right party,
Sure.
in the right encounters.
With 6 monks, each making flurry of blows at second level, getting 3 attacks each, and you're adding 3d4 per monk, it's 18d4 bonus. What's not to love about it? The number goes up and just keeps going.
And then somebody keeps fireballing all of us. You will be so #blessed.
You'll be so very blessed.
All right. Well, that was fun. I'm excited about Bless of all things. All right. Well, that was Bless. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know. What are you as excited about Bless as I am? Let us know in the comments.
Are you more on the it's fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was that. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.